welcome web designers and developers. We're working on chapter 1 and we're looking at how you design a website. And when I design a website, I start first with the navigation. So on this we have About Us, Activities, Cafe, Cruises, Fishing, and Spa on our umbrella site. This would be given to us by our client. We can look at these and kind of say, well, we have about 6 pages, fishing and cruises. That sounds like an activity, so these will probably be sub-pages. We can get an idea then of how we want to construct our navigation. If we know that there's going to be a big, long, huge horizontal navigation down either the right-hand side or the left-hand side, that's going to greatly direct how we lay out the page. If it's a very short and tiny navigation, we might want it to be horizontal across the top. So what I wanted to do with you is just give a short visual by going into Photoshop today. And I have a basic web page kind of laid out here. And I've drawn some guides here. You can pull these in Photoshop. And this is called the fold. The first part of the page that you can see in your web browser is the fold. So the fold here is over here where it says Weather and College Map. So all of my information actually for this page is above the fold line. And when I go to the home page, most of it's above the fold, but not all of it. So you have to scroll down. And a lot of designers try to make the entire page as pretty as they can above this fold. And some of them don't like to scroll down. Sometimes you have to. I like to scroll. If there's a lot of information for the web page, it's nice to scroll. There are several different types of websites. There's informational websites, which is what I typically have ended up building. This is an information website. But there's also brochure websites that you want to look really, really pretty, and they're splashy, and they're there to sell something. And, there's gaming websites. There's lots of different websites, database-driven websites. This one's just for information. It's also a little bit of a sales tool because we want people to go to college. So let's go back to our web design page here. Go Control-Z, so I'll get rid of that. In the if you break down design, this isn't very hard. It's pretty predictable. So I'm just going to lay out really quickly here. The first thing that you need to get a hold of from your client is an official logo. So this is your logo. Let me see if I can put some text in here. It says logo. Change that to white. Okay, and then you'll need just a basic background color on your web page. And I think we start out with white for a long time, and we don't have you design things in this class until just about right up to the end. So now you have your logo and your page color. Then usually you'll have a banner of some sort, and a lot of times the banner contains the logo. Or this actually, so this would be some sort of pretty picture. Well, so let's see, let me put a pattern in the background. So you have your logo and your pretty picture. And then a lot of times right here you'll have some sort of navigation bar. My mouse here isn't working very well for me. So this could be the navigation. Number 1. And if you don't have a navigation here, you'll probably have something else like a splash line or a slogan or something else here in this place. Remember on your logo, if the logo doesn't have the name of the company and the address and phone number, you should probably have that up here. Or you should be able to click this logo. This should take you back to the home page. But there should be some identifying. If this is a business, they absolutely positively have to have their phone number up here above the fold line, and it needs to be nice and big so people can see it. Make that just a little bit of a different color. Back to logo. And also remind you to put the phone number. A lot of my beginning students, whenever they go to work on their personal projects, they make company websites. Then they forget the people's phone number and they forget their logo on the first page or to tell us where they're located. If you're a business, the reason why you want a website is so people know about you. So you need to make sure that that gets included and that it's not hidden. Okay, so let's talk about the areas I've made here. This is going to be for content. And this over here is going to be either the secondary navigation, or there can be some pictures over here, but usually there's at least 2 columns on a website. So this is a 1 column, and this is your other column. You'll notice that these are basically squares, and this is all about laying out little squares. And it's not any harder than that. We have our logo, our phone number, our pretty colorful banner, a navigation bar, and column 1, column 2. These are both going to have content in them. This could be a navigation array, or this could be images over here, but all of our content is going to be over here. Now our content, I usually do something kind of special when I lay out text. I make sure that it doesn't go all the way across the page and all over the place. I'll make sure that it stays pretty tiny so that people can read it easily. So my paragraph text is pretty small, and if you go back to some of my pages here, oh my gosh, they put that ugly red text on my page after I left. Let me change it to something else that I did. Okay, so you see all my text is easy to read with, and I do that on all my web pages so that people can read them easier. Logo, upper left-hand corner. I've got my little search bar, some faculty staff resource and so forth. Navigation bar, secondary navigation bar. But at the bottom is a really important part that new people usually forget, and that's the footer. This could be a copyright statement right here. Usually I put a contact us, directions, and this should go to a nice handy dandy form, phone number and address. And this is super important. So the last part of our web page is the footer. Oops, if my mouse will work. So there's our website in a nutshell. All the parts of 10, they're just squares, and you can work on a piece of paper, which is what I usually do. I lay it out, I get a piece of paper with a grid on it, or I take my ruler and I start laying out all my squares, and I get an idea of how large every little item needs to be. And I might lay out 5 or 6 little thumbnails and just play with my squares, play with my space. Things don't have to look square. I have sometimes things that look circular or whatnot. It looks like they have wiggles and swirls and stuff, but the basic underlying code is always going to be a square. You can kind of fudge it and make it look like something else, but squares are at the base of every web design.